welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I'm your host, Kerrilynn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. If you are interested in finding out more about the shows that UPRN has to offer, you can head to uprntalkradio.com and find out more about our hosts, the shows. You can access all of the archive shows. There's thousands of archive shows. There's new shows coming on all the time, and there is something for everyone. It's not all high strangeness and paranormal. So there's just so much to access. If you guys were hanging out with us last night, Laura Lee and I on Beneath the Hollow Moon, thank you for hanging out with us there as well. Last night, we were talking about Christmas Day. Christmas Day, we are still going to be doing the show live. So we'll be live at 7:10 Eastern-ish. We're going to have the haunted hotline. So if you guys want to be part of the show, we're inviting you on. You can send us an email at kerrylynnsporch at gmail.com, or contact Laura Lee Potvin or myself on social media. Just send us a DM and let us know if you have a haunted story, a holiday high strangeness story. If you've got something that you would like to share, we're going to have people coming on for short little bursts. So not for the whole show. We have a few surprise friends coming on the show as well too. We'll run it from 7 to 9 like we always do. As some of you may know, Laura Lee's son passed away. It'll be almost at that year mark when we hit Christmas. So we are in honor of Jesse. We are going to have chicken nuggets and fries while we're doing the show because he was in the autism spectrum and those were his favorite meals. So we're going to do that. And we invite you to do that along with us, right? It doesn't have to be chicken nuggets, but, bring your dinner and hang out with Laura Lee and I on Christmas Day from 7 to 9, which will be great. So I just have to, hi, everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. I'm going to call up. I should have had this a little more ready. Sorry, folks. Hi, Stephanie Marlowe. I'll bring you guys up in a second. We're just going to bring Marilyn out. My guest today, Marilyn, has been on the show a few times, actually. So I was really excited. And what was fun about leading up to this, at a couple of events, I always tell everybody about Spirit Switchboard and, what they can expect if they come hang out with us in the chat here. And people were commenting that how much they loved the segments that we had with Marilyn on. So Marilyn is author of, it's right in here too. Let's pull it up. Lifetimes. So she came on the first time and we were talking about exploring past lives and life between lives. And then she had so graciously offered me a session. And then she came back on and we talked about my session. So today we're going to be talking about spontaneous past life memories. I'm just going to bring her out. Please welcome to the show, Marilyn Kaufman. Hi, Marilyn.
Hi.
I was just like flipping around. I thought I had it out and, we had a little kerfluffle before we started and I don't know where it went. So we're doing it not as gracefully as what I would have liked tonight. But
I can't read in the comments. I was trying to say hi to everyone and I can't read in the comments.
Yeah, it's been weird. The chat what they've been saying is the chat has been a little bit weird too. So I don't know.
I see a lot of names I recognize.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, for the people that are just meeting you for the first time, giving them a little bit of your background, and then we'll go through the chat and we'll say hello and to the names that we recognize and the new names that are joining us today.
Okay. I'm located in London, Ontario, and I've been doing past life regressions for about 20 years. I must have started when I was 5 or something.
I know.
And I have learned so much. And so when COVID hit, I wrote the book because I wanted to share with everyone what I've learned. And a lot of people would ask me, well, I'm really interested in past life, but I don't know anything about it. So I started, you know what happened? I would be meditating. And while I'm meditating, I'm getting all this. I don't know if I was writing the book or if I was getting downloads, but it just kept happening. So then I'd have to come to my computer and type it all out right away, right? So I think some of it's channeled and some of it's my personal life that I put out there. And just so you get to know me and know that I'm genuine and I love what I do.
And that comes across. Like I've always been very appreciative of your authenticity and transparency and relatability and making it safe to explore, because it's definitely can be triggering and hitting raw spaces for people, and for people who have had traumas, to open up and allow themselves to be bravely vulnerable and exploring that. Having somebody like you where you're creating a safe environment is so special for us.
And the other place is so that the other reason for the book is so that they get to know me, that they can be comfortable with me.
Yeah.
And incredible how many people say, well, I was looking up online about past life, but I was just called to your name. And that's because I asked my guides to send them to me.
I remember you asked me that, how I found you. And it was actually a referral. Somebody else had found you and said, I think you guys would be a great fit. And
honestly, I have never heard of you.
That's okay. I'm okay with not being known.
But I did go online, and but because you get a lot of things, people want to make a movie out of your book. And I said, well, did you read my book? You can't make a movie out of that. It's just sales pitches, or they want to advertise you, but they want all this money and everything. And so I get a little leery when I get emails that I don't know people. But I looked you up and I felt very comfortable, and I accepted.
Yeah, and look at us now. A regular 3-show in.
Yeah.
We need to do like quarterly segments, maybe.
I would love that.
I think so too.
And I also want to say that I have worked with a lot of people from your audience, and they are wonderful. They're amazing. Yeah. And the energy that's been coming through is so incredible. Like there has been a lot of Jesus and Mary Magdalene energy coming through.
Right.
A lot of Archangel Michael. Yeah. And people you might not even expect it coming through, having lives on other planets. And just, I love it. It's so exciting. And meeting their parents for the first time.
It's incredible. And the shift for me was huge because I was never, ever, ever interested. I just didn't want to go down to that spot because I knew in my perimenopausal ADHD, hang on to guilt. If we hit a spot where I was like not nice, that I was going to hang on to that forever and have a hard time adjusting through that. And we're going to talk about that tonight too, right? When those things come up, and it wasn't that at all. It was a powerful, very powerful, which I'm still processing aspects of it and layers of it.
And also you might have an aha moment, like a month from your regression, a year from it. Yeah. Like I often get emails from people like 4 years ago.
Wow.
And they say, do you remember this? I don't know. But I keep the recordings. So if anyone needs the recording 4 years from now, I'll still have them.
Wow.
That's on a thumb, because it might take me a while to access them.
Well, let's come through and say hi to everybody that's in the chat. Mort was here early. He was like our first person in the chat. Hi, Mort. Thank you so much for being here. Jody, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Michelle, how are you doing with all the snow? Are you good? Michelle saying good evening, everyone. Heidi Goal chiming in from Boulder, Colorado. Good day. Thank you so much for sharing us out today. I appreciate you very much.
I love Boulder. I actually did my between life training in Boulder, Colorado. It's
Did
beautiful.
you?
Yeah, with Linda Bachman, the Raven Heart Institute.
Wow. Stephanie Malo stopping to smell the flowers. So Stephanie has also been a guest a couple of times on the show. We have something in the works, the two of us, a collaboration that we're working on. One of us is better with communication and than the other. You want to take a guess? But we're working on it, right, Stephanie? And I'm so grateful that you're patient with me. Carrie Fast chiming in from Calgary. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, Jackie White, our
Hi, Jackie.
friend, sensitive and animal communicator. So yeah, glad that you're tuning in for tonight's show as well too. Denise Mitz. Hello all and happy Friday. Welcome back, Marilyn.
Thank you.
KJ Fortune, hello. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Julie Dow. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see if we can call this up. Stephanie sharing, Marilyn walks the person through the process so beautifully and gently. I would agree.
Oh my gosh, my ego's going to just like.
No, it's not. You jokingly say that, but we all know better. That's not even the truth.
I think you missed Heidi Goal.
Yep. I'm on my way back up.
Oh, sorry.
No, we're good. Thank you for showing me, though. Heidi Goal is saying, hello, Marilyn.
Hi.
I think that we've got everybody in now. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. We're still rolling. Danny Odd 37, good evening. Thank you so much for being here. Fiona Clark. I'm always so happy when I see your name, Fiona. Good evening, Marilyn. You look so much like my sister who has passed away. I feel I need to watch tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you're here, Fiona. Okay, Marilyn. And along the bottom, folks, for the audio listeners, because 80% of our audience are audio, not necessarily chiming in and watching us on YouTube. You can find Marilyn and her book at youareasoul.ca. You can find out more information. I'm sure that you can buy the book pretty much anywhere that you buy books, but to find out more information about Marilyn or contact her, you can head to youareasoul.ca. Sherry Madigan, hello. Thank you so much for being here. So, Marilyn, you in your book, you talk about your first spontaneous past life. Memory and experience, and you weren't looking for it. It's just spontaneous.
It just happened.
Yeah, you were doing energy work, correct?
Yeah, it was called energy psychology. It was a class I was taking.
Are you okay about taking us back to that and explaining if what you were doing, or how did you realize? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I was at the oh my gosh, my memory. Having a senior moment. It's this great class down in Toronto, and I was studying energy psychology at the time, and we were just working on a problem that we had, and it was something that was making us a little anxious, and we wanted to alleviate that anxiety from it. And so we did that through tapping. We had to state the problem in a certain way. And my issue was I have 3 daughters, and all 3 of them were living away from me in different cities. 2 were in Montreal and 1 was in Ottawa. And I was worried about them. The youngest was 18 at the time, and she was modeling, and she wanted to go travel with some of these agencies, and I didn't know them, and I wasn't keen on it at all, but there was no stopping her because this was going to make her career. And that was my issue. So I'm tapping away and tapping away. Oh, so in the beginning, we had to say where we were. And I was at a 7, 1 out of 10. And I felt I was at a 7. And as I'm tapping, it's supposed to go down, but I was going up. I was at an 8. And I told the teacher, and she said, just keep tapping. And I started to hyperventilate. And when I told her, I said, I'm having trouble. We had massage tables, so they laid me down on a massage table, and the whole class is sending energy. And I didn't understand what was going on. I had this visual of a mob coming after me. They were taking my baby away from me. And I remember literally screaming, my baby, my baby. And they threw it in a fire. And it made sense. So the teacher wasn't really versed in how to handle a past life, right? But she got me calmed down. And then she said, Marilyn, is this a past life? And boom, I went right back into it. So I remember seeing that mob in a fast forward thing. And they were saying, stop doing what you're doing, or we're going to take your other 2 children. And it was like looking out the window, like this. And it was just so scary. So I thought, well, first of all, I had to look into it some more and release the energy from that. But what happened was that baby that they had taken from me was my youngest child who was doing this modeling, right? Same spirit as my youngest daughter. And anyway, I thought, well, that's not a very good way to experience life. So I thought, I'm going to learn how to do this so that people don't have to experience them like that.
That's so brave, because really it's like a choose your own adventure story when we're here. Turn to page to have this option or this option, and that you chose to keep moving through it is brave.
I heard a great analogy, if you want to. Anyway, just going forward, I went down to Lilydale, where I learned the spiritual school of hypnotherapy, because to me it was all about spirit, right? It wasn't about stop smoking or losing weight or whatever, clinical psychology, hypnosis is for. This had to be regression therapy. So I heard this great analogy of a past life. And it's like, suppose you're in a small town and there's a theater group, and you join this theater group, and, there's maybe 10 or 12 people who want to put on a play. And so you all pick your part and you act your part as a different person or the role model, who the role is. You decide how you want to portray that person or the part in the play, and then you put the play on. Next year, you decide to do another play. So you decide what the play is going to be, and you all choose your parts, and some person might need to be a villain in that play. And even though they're part of your spirit group, your soul group, or someone that you've been in past lives with before, they may choose to become a villain if it's going to help you learn something.
Yeah.
So as in this life, you have to learn what you're going to put into that role to make it real, to make it, to communicate it well to the audience, right? Well, you're doing that with your soul to communicate what you want to learn. And it's a real great analogy, I thought. Every lifetime is different, with maybe the same people, maybe different ones, but you're all playing a different role. So even if in the first play you are a mother and you have a love interest, in the next year, the next play, you could be his daughter.
Yeah.
Right? That same soul.
Yeah.
It's a great analogy if you think of it. It just goes on and on and on.
It does. And that was my thinking prior to having the experience with you, I always just had it in my head. I've been all of it: tall, short, chubby, thin, male, female, good, bad, and then,
not mean.
yeah.
Even
And then I would be okay. And just knowing that I'm taking actions, or that my thoughts, words, and actions are in alignment, so that I can sleep good at night and not have to repeat lessons or taking ownership of stuff. And
or come back to earth again.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel what I've learned from you is the things that I'm very pulled to. There's always deeper meaning, which I kind of knew, but to go even deeper with it, and not that it just had to be in this lifetime, but multidimensional, that it can be dimensional lifetimes as well too. And that was validating and eye-opening, and changed a lot of things for me.
And also it can be parallel, another life happening at the same time.
I appreciate that you saying that, because I had a client this week ask me that, and I was like, oh yeah, but I didn't necessarily say it with full confidence. I was like, oh yeah, and you can reach out to Marilyn Kaufman at the same time, because I felt sure, but then I referred her to you. Cindy Mitch, hello, thank you so much for being here. Because just taking ownership of having a spontaneous past life memory, there's that slippery slope. Just having intuitive thoughts, you can gaslight yourself out of it really quickly, have that chihuahua brain, I just wanted to know that, or not knowing what to do with that information. But then when it's consistent, so are there signs leading up to that for people? You get slammed into it.
There are so many ways that we are actually accessing our past lives without even knowing it. And of course, it all comes from our subconscious mind, because that's where the memory of all your past lives reside. So depending on where you are in your life or your circumstances at the time, you could just be pulling up some past life memories and not even be aware of it. So I just was thinking of some examples, and some of them are like, when you have déjà vu, when you go into a place you've never been before, but it's so familiar, and you actually know if you turn that corner, there's going to be a church there or something to that extent. That could be, and you don't know how's that happening, right? Or there are your emotions, like what makes you so emotional? Maybe I've always been very get upset when I watch a movie where someone is really being suppressed. And sure enough, I found out that was past life. Or some things just make you happy. When you meet someone and you just feel like you've known them forever, well, you probably have, in another life.
That's comforting, though.
Mm-hmm. Love at first sight. Not everyone believes in it. Not everyone experiences it. But when you meet your soul mate, you pretty well know it, right?
I'll take your word on it. I'll take your word on it.
I think it's still to come.
Hi, Jane. Slow to figure out the chat, but good evening, ladies. Looking forward to the discussion. So we're talking about past lives, but spontaneous past life experiences or spontaneous past life memories. I guess we're kind of talking about triggers or signs.
Yeah, these are what triggers. There's some dreams, people who have recurring dreams.
Oh, that was on my list of questions, recurring dreams.
Yeah, definitely past life. I have someone come who always felt like they were in a house on fire and they couldn't get out. It was a past life thing. Or, just anyone with claustrophobia, or something like that. It really can create panic attacks when you don't know where it's coming from. Even physical pain can be a past life memory. There's also the fears, right? The karma of talent. How can some kids come into this life and just play a music, just pick it up like that without even trying?
Yeah.
And I know I put the example in the book of Mozart, who wrote concertos at 4. My grandson's 4. There is no way he could write a concerto. There's no way.
My kids, 2 of my children remembered past lives and just openly talked about them. I remember you as my mommy, but you looked different then. Mm-hmm. And also that son in particular would say, and Brooklyn wasn't here then. So talking about my daughter. So in that past life, remembering me as their mom, but this sister, like, that sister wasn't part of that. Yeah, he talked a lot about it when he was younger.
So speaking of my 4-year-old grandson, he recently had a past life memory, and it was the is it the Day of Reconciliation? I can't remember. It's in October. Well, everyone wears orange shirts in commemoration of these people who had to go. And it was the Indigenous people of Canada and Northern United States who had to go to these residential schools because they wanted to get
annihilate them.
To put it in a nice way, they wanted to make them more Canadian. Yep. They weren't allowed to use their own language.
They stripped them of their identity and their culture, yes, their language,
and their family. Mm-hmm. And this was run by the government, and the schools were often run by a religion. Methodist was a big one, and there were some others. Anyway, so now there's been a big awareness of this coming, and they have a day in Canada called the Day of Truth and Reconciliation. So in school, they talk about it a lot, and all the kids wear these orange shirts. So my daughter went out and got him an orange shirt, to commemorate, and wear to school that day. And when he saw it, he goes, "Can I wear this at home? Can I wear this every day? Because I don't want to be taken away from my family and sent to that big, I can't remember, that big something in the sky." So I really think he was an Indigenous child in this school, and was, because so many of them were sick and died there. And that's how this all came about, because they found these graveyards that were
unmarked, and they're searching for more all the time as well too, which is good that they are honoring that. With children, it's such a, like, not wanting to plant the seed and not wanting to give them the information and allowing it to unfold organically. So Heidi, so we'll just bring this up really quickly. So Cindy was sharing, yes, I believe life is simultaneously happening. And Heidi is sharing, my just turned 5 granddaughter says, I did that in my past life. And she amazes me. And when my kiddos were saying those things, I was not doing this work. It wasn't part of the conversation. It was a totally random thing that was happening. So when we have these kiddos that say things like this, how do we best navigate that? If they are having a past life memory, how do we support them? Do we deep dive into it? And then if we keep going and moving layers of that onion, is there ethics attached to that too? Because if you found, could you speak to that?
And my advice to people, because I've had quite a few people call me, you can't regress a young child.
No.
I wouldn't anyway, but I don't question them if they bring it up. Just let them tell you, be very interested, maybe ask a few questions, but then they could go like weeks or days without even mentioning it again, and then something will trigger their memory, and they might start talking about it. And I think it was last time when we talked, I talked about my cousin who babysits, and she was taking care of this little boy, and when they would go for a walk, he said, there used to be a barn here. And she checked with my uncle, and yes, there used to be a barn where he was pointing to. Wow. But the funniest thing was, he said, your grandpa ran over your father with his dairy truck. And she didn't know anything about that. So she asked my only remaining uncle that's alive, and sure enough, he did.
I love stuff like that. I love that, like, what the heck moment, like, can't make that up. Like, it's just when that little piece of evidential is there as well too.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that when they turn about 7 or 8, they start to become less aware. The memory is less of what's going on.
Yes, because Earth School kicks in and they have that need to be a little more normal in order to make it through school.
And we start to believe our personality is who we are, right? Our body is who we are.
I feel when my kids were having those memories, it was what triggered me to really take ownership of remembering who I was, and everything steamrolled forward from that point as far as my healing journey and accountability and shadow work. And it really helped them be okay. Like, I would say all of mine found a lovely balance and still hanging on to who they were intuitively, but managing through school without being the super weird one. But not that being super weird isn't good. It is, especially, I think what it did was allowed us to have that home as our sanctuary, where we could do that check-in or help support them where they had a place to talk about it.
Some of my friends still think I'm weird. That's okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, I made hoodies and T-shirts. My friend and I did a whole big photo shoot, and we did sheet ghosts. Like, I just bought white sheets and we stood in a field and in front of buildings and by a pool. Actually, Michelle Plummer took the pictures for us, which was fabulous. And then I made a bunch of T-shirts and swag and stuff of me in the field dressed up as a sheet ghost. And underneath it says, "Keep it weird." Like mugs with "Keep it weird." We need to keep it weird. Anyway, Heidi is sharing, that is what amazes me, is that I don't walk around defining like telepathy, but she tells me, "I told your mind from my mind." Yeah.
So here's another thing. I don't know if anyone's heard of the telepathy tapes.
So I have, but please share with folks who may not know.
There are podcasts called the telepathy tape files, I think. Yeah. And what they're finding is children who are very autistic, and some of them don't even have speech. They're finding that they're communicating telepathically with other autistic children. And like, even not in the same town, I think one is in North Carolina or something like that, and communicating with another child in the same situation as with him that's in Colorado. It's crazy. And like, they do tests, like they make someone hold up a number, and the mother's holding up a number, and they can tell what it is without seeing the card. And there's just, if you can listen to it, I can't even explain it. But it's so cool. Yeah. And
that's one of the intuitive exercises I do with my group. Hold up cards for them to guess what it is.
Write it on your hand, right? You write the number on your hand. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what would the best way be to document or to do that research? So what did you do? So let's come back to if we can use you as an example. So, you have this experience, and then you start from there. What sort of things took place that led us to lifetimes? Did you do research first into understanding that past life for yourself further?
It wasn't research. It was working in other workshops to pull it up and understand it better. So revisiting that past life, understanding it better, and a big one, learning to forgive those who.
Yeah.
I was eventually hung in that life, and I did see that. So you do have to. Forgiveness is a big thing.
And look at you today, wearing a turtleneck and doing just fine.
That's right.
But that is a thing for many people. Like when you talk about fears, right? Not being able to have a turtleneck, or being scared of heights, or my wife. Oh, my one kiddo will not go in the lake or the ocean, like literally starts to shake, just the idea of it. So
send them over. Yeah, so I did that. And that's when I decided I needed to start looking into this more. I wanted to learn more about it and went down to Lilydale. And my teacher was Dick Sutphin, who is no longer with us, but made it very cool. It was a 200-hour program. And then I learned, as I said, Between Life, which the work of Michael Newton out in Colorado, Boulder. And that's just amazing. And that's what you did, Kerrilynn, sorry.
That's okay.
Last name either first.
And it was a very powerful experience. If anybody wanted to or was interested in hearing about that experience, you can find it on the YouTube channel and watch it, or go back and listen to the archive show. That Life Between Lives was an incredible experience for me. And I'm still peeling back all the layers to that. It's been incredible. But you blend hypnosis and regression therapy, energy work. You use a blend of different modalities when you're dealing with clients. So as people are having things as needed.
Yeah, some people I'll do chakra work on, or cord cutting, or sometimes people just want to come and they're not really interested in past life, but they're interested in other things, right? So
that was the question I had. How do you stabilize and structure the experience therapeutically so it becomes healing and not overwhelming?
I think some people can be overwhelmed. And because they are just, so many people don't know what to expect. They don't realize what it's going to be like. And they can be overwhelmed. But I do try to keep it pretty calm. And I really don't do the work, because we call in the spirit guides and they do the healing and they do explanations. And that to me is the beauty of it. That's the best part.
I would say from my experience too, I really had high intention, low attachment, open to whatever the process was going to be. I know you encourage sort of setting an intention or having a question prior for that life between lives, right? And the guides that showed up for me was surprising. Like I didn't have an expectation necessarily about the who or what was going to be a guide, and how that played out was also. And if we pull that back to that spontaneous past life experiences that happen for people, can that be a push from a spirit guide or your higher self asking you to get moving on your awakening and your journey?
Yeah, I think, isn't the push the first chapter of my book?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I didn't do well with the subtlety. I needed the push.
But many of us do need a knock on the head to get going, right?
And there's so much that, in everyday life, we just forget. We get caught up in the world and forget to ask for help.
Yeah.
Like, they're there waiting. A lot of people want to know, how can I connect with my guides all the time?
Well, and if you're not in a group of people that are having those sort of conversations or experiences, not knowing anybody else in that, like you are just, random and have this experience happen all of a sudden, you don't want to, finding that safe place can be hard to have that conversation. And even moving in it, you don't want to sound like a cult leader. I say that too. Like, because cult leaders say some of the same words that we do. They use some of the language. So it really is finding that safe place where it is nurtured and not manipulated. And how does someone not chihuahua brain and overthink it and talk themselves out of it? How do you maneuver through that space of having the experience to surrendering into it, processing it, and not talking yourself out of it?
Yeah, I think meditation is just the best thing for that ever. And it doesn't have to be where your mind shuts down completely. That's not what meditation really is. Meditation is just closing your eyes to the world, outside, and just being quiet. Maybe concentrate on your breathing. Some people chant. I could never chant for more than a few minutes. Going out into nature. So many people are getting that message of going into nature. And
how can they differentiate between a true past life experience and something else, like, or their imagination? How can they use discernment, I guess?
A lot of people want to know if they're making it up, and I'm not 100% sure, but like when they come for a regression, I say, when you're feeling the emotion, people sometimes cry, you're not making that up.
Yeah.
And if you were going to make up a past life, you probably wouldn't be making up the past lives you remember. Because it can be really, really simple or really different.
Yes. And for me, when I researched the house that I was seeing and found exactly, and it matched the year that I was saying to you during our experience, and that house came up with that. And I would not have even read that or watched a TV show. It wouldn't even be in my subconscious memory and from this lifetime that I would be accessing and making something up, like there was just no way for that to happen.
I had someone who lived in an earthen house, like it was built from the earth.
Oh my gosh, a hobbit house.
Yeah.
That'd be fabulous.
And
fabulous. I would love that.
Describe it. And so when she went home, she researched it, and it was from like 13th century Iceland.
Wow.
And
wow.
Yeah.
That the wow parts, I mean, the sessions themselves and the experience themselves are wow. But then when you start peeling back those layers and not that I needed to left brain everything, but it helped me understand myself at the same time. Right. And there was just been wow from the start. So Heidi is sharing, let's see if I can get it to come up. The telepathy tapes with Kay. I can't think of her last name at the moment. So Karen Swan, who is a host here with UPRN. I think her show is on Sundays. I'm sorry that I'm asking. There's just so many shows, but I believe her show is on Sunday, Karen Swan show. And she's from Australia, I believe, as well, too. Thank you, Heidi, for sharing. Cindy Mitch is sharing, I just want to say my daughter and I want to go to Lilydale as she lives so close to Lilydale. Many people have lots of positive experiences and things to say about Lilydale.
I found Lilydale quite by accident, or was it? It wasn't
right.
An accident. I know that. But
synchronicities are beautiful.
They have a very short calendar from June, like towards the end of June till September. Yeah. And they bring people in. So look at their calendar online, and there's a lot of courses and there's a lot of guest speakers. And if you look at your calendar online, you'll know when to go.
My dear friend Kim Sage was there this year, so she's coming back on in early January, and we're going to be talking about healing, for those spirits that are at unrest on the other side, and how we can offer healing for them so that they are at rest. So Kim Sage was just recently there. Tina Lumisol, thank you so much for being here, and thank you. I'm glad that you are enjoying the show. Stephanie Malo is sharing, I knew that going to see Marilyn for a past life regression was going to catapult me forward in my life, which I needed. She continues, let's see if we can bring it up for you. She continues sharing, I use the past life experience lessons to ask myself now, which past life are you acting from right now? Look at you and your little wise self. That's brilliant. It's so brilliant. Sundays at 4:30 Mountain Time. Thank you, Heidi. That's for Karen Swan's show. And if she just had that telepathy tapes on, that archive show would be really quick for you guys to be able to find. And you could go to the UPRN YouTube channel to find it, and you'll be able to listen to it. Heidi is sharing, I do have some past life memories along with my birth chart. I understand some lessons now. And that's what I appreciate too with you, Marilyn, is this seeking of knowledge is coming from different workshops and different places. It wasn't just from one. And that's how I've been as well too, especially at the beginning. It was all kinds of different modalities.
It evolves. If I think of what's coming through now, through regressions and channeling and things like that, like my book is almost old news. I wrote it ago during COVID, right? And so much more is coming to light.
Yeah.
I mean, it still gives you the basics, but like it could be expanded on. Like I was almost worried about writing about star seeds back then. And now everyone knows what a star seed is.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Well, it's much more, and our soul family and our soul heritage, our cosmic lineage, like all of those kind of conversations, people are having more now. But I agree with you about when we are in that openness, and whether it's meditation or non-thinking moment and the way that it works best for you, and you get those aha moments or plops of information. Some people are going to call them downloads. However you're receiving that, it's in the moment, it's real time, it's up to date and current, and keeping track of all of that, even if it's to help you not gaslight yourself, right? Like I had this piece of information come in at this time and day, and it plays out here. You get to learn your timelines as well.
Do you know, it's funny because we live in such a world of duality, and we come down for that reason, to experience duality, but it's changing, and there's a divide, and there's people who want to move forward and progress as a soul, and people who prefer to stay on Earth and live in a 3D, right? So that divide is just changing, and it's all about frequency. So people can see two things at the same time. And a person coming from a lower frequency is going to see it very earth-based, where a person who is more open-minded or has a higher frequency, and no judgment on any of this, is going to see the magic, right? Or see their guides, or see the beauty of Earth, where a person in a lower density or lower frequency, might see it as negative, and the person in a higher frequency could see it completely from a positive perspective.
Yeah. And when we talk about frequency and higher frequencies, it brings a level of peace. Doesn't mean that there's no drama or chaos or bumps in the day. It just means having that place of seeing from a bigger perspective and coming back to center and a place of peace quickly. That's the magic in it too.
And that's how we bring in your spirit guides, is by raising your vibration or your frequency.
Yeah.
So I really had some. I was thinking a lot about the podcast, and I was thinking about consciousness and frequency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the different, and they're completely different things, but they can relate to each other. So if you think of your consciousness is like the radio, but the frequency is what station you're tuning into.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Yeah. Analogies help me understand things a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, when all of those awarenesses were really moving very quickly, when you understand all of that, you start to lose labels. Like the labels are not as important anymore because you're tapping into everything at a frequency level. So,
and the frequency is changing of Earth is changing so much right now. A lot of people are coming with anxiety, and it's not necessarily a past life thing. It's the frequency of Earth is changing, and it's changing quickly, like with these solar flares. And just thinking about 3i Atlas that's coming, it's even if it's nothing, although they do say it's conscious, it's a conscious thing.
Yeah.
It's
but even if it isn't,
the frequency of the Earth, because people are starting to realize that things can come from other solar systems or other galaxies, and people are questioning it. Is it good or is it bad? And that's kind of where your frequency comes in. If you have a higher frequency, you're not worried about if it's coming from.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't give it a second thought, honestly.
No, I'm excited about it, actually.
Me too. Yeah. A friend and I always, every time I see it, even when I'm reading it, that 3i Atlas, in my head, it's like third eye at last. And I don't know why, but every time I look at it, that's how I'm saying it. That's how I keep saying it in my head. And if it's like an earworm for you now, you're welcome.
Okay, so here's a really good example of that frequency thing. So there's people who, the government has people remote viewing it. And they're saying it's got probes, and it's because they're coming from a military background. Everything's the enemy. We've got to protect ourselves from it. Where if you listen to people from a spiritual or more open-minded, let's say, perspective, they're going to say it's great. It's, it's raising the frequency.
So I have a question about that, because I find even being in like the woo community and the way that I am, everyone, if it is frequency, everyone has this different opinion, like people talking about who they're seeing or what they're seeing and who they are in alliance with, and someone else saying something so drastically different. So I choose to not read any of it. I just cannot, because that's when I get overwhelmed. If I go outside of and looking at all of those different opinions and the drastic polarity of how people are talking about it, I can't go into those frequencies. I have to just lean into how I'm feeling that frequency from my place, and then I'm okay.
I have so much trouble with the news, and sometimes I get caught up in it, and then I just feel crummy afterwards. And I think, that's it. I'm not watching the news. And I stopped watching the news a long time ago. But I get headlines, like 5 headlines. Is there something I need to know?
Exactly.
I don't want everyone's opinion on it like the news does. And
no,
just let me know. Is it safe to go outside? Is it going to be cold out?
Yes. Is it snowing again today? Are the schools closed?
Yeah.
Because I have to drive my granddaughter to school every second week. So
that's what I do. I do pick up.
Oh, it's so fun, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Me too. It's the best thing ever. Stephanie was sharing, also the spirit guide part of the session was so big and beautiful to use and know about in this life now was fantastic. Cindy Mitch, thank you for sharing. They're saying, I see the highest frequency alliance as the Crystal Palace. Let's see if I can put this back. Do you find, I read an article that said for children that have those spontaneous past life experiences and memories, that 70% of them come from a place of trauma. From your experience, do you find that, I don't know if you hear about that from children or that children's perspective in the community that you're in, but do you see that with adults as well too?
Yeah, well, it certainly was with my grandson.
Yeah. And you?
Yes. But yeah, there are past lives. We've all had traumatic past lives. Have we been able to release it from our consciousness? Hopefully. And if we haven't, then that's what this work can do. That's what this work can help you with.
in moving into doing a regression session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just going to take a second to do our station ID because we're at that top of the hour. So thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate everybody that's popping in and commenting or holding space for one another. You are listening to Spirit Switchboard, and I'm your host, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. If you are interested in finding out more of the different shows that UPRN has to offer, you can head to uprntalkradio.com, find out more about our hosts and our shows. There's always new shows coming on the network, and the website is being updated. We are, word is that we're going to have a chat room on the website, a merch store, all kinds of fun things happening over there. You can access all of our archived shows as well too. Today, I have on the show, my returning guest is author and hypnotherapist Marilyn Kaufman. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Did I miss a comment that you maybe are seeing that I may have missed? Okay. What did I want to? Oh yeah, that was the question I was going to next. Was spontaneous memory emerges that involved trauma? How do you guide people through that emotional place or the karmic layers? Does it take time?
Sometimes we have to go back. So like when you I take people through a tunnel to their past life. When they step out of that tunnel, they're remembering a past life, the first one that we're going to do, because in a typical session we do 3. If they step right into a traumatic experience, what they don't usually do, but sometimes it happens, I'll say, well, let's go back to a day before or an hour before or a week before to see how you got into this predicament.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And then sometimes I'll just go forward to see if they got out of it. Because the trauma doesn't always affect their current life. It's just something they were interested in, like maybe they were a soldier and because they were interested in war and they just stepped into the battlefield, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't usually happen that way, but it can. Also, when there is trauma in your current life that you're remembering that a past life is causing this trauma, understanding the cause often releases the effect. So just knowing that it's from a past life helps alleviate the effect it has on you.
Yeah.
Like Stephanie says, I just go, oh, which past life I'm afraid of doing something. Which past life am I remembering, right? But also they're under hypnosis. So I can make suggestions to them. I can give them like a step, I don't know how to say it, like something that they can do, like touching their right hand or something. And when you have this issue come up, touch your right hand and you'll remember that it's not this life, that it's over and you've dealt with it.
Right.
I don't want to say trigger because trigger kind of has a negative effect. But that's what
you are planting the seed of a tool.
It's a tool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's helpful. And you, because I'm very mindful about who I let in my energetic space, I have to say too, like when we do this work, you know, who we let in our space and who we don't. And you're very good at getting us deep quick, like into that space. I don't know if that's everybody's experience. That was my experience for sure.
I think so. It seems like the whole induction is not quick. It's like 15, 20 minutes because it's not like doing something for neurolinguistic programming, which you just, work with someone for a minute and they're in a trance state enough to do that work. Past life, you have to go deeper. So it does take a little bit longer. And it's just like visualization, relaxation and visualization and stuff.
Yeah. And for people to understand, even if they're wanting to do a life between lives session with you, you still have to take us to a past life and moving through that life to get to
the day they die.
Yeah.
To the day they die. And we do, like, and I always put it in the induction, you're going to do this without pain and without extreme emotion, because I don't want people to go through it like I did, like not knowing what's going on and just crying,
Yeah, no.
But
I kind of felt euphoric, to be honest. Isn't that awful?
What?
I kind of felt euphoric. I was like, oh, good. Okay, now I'm ready to die. So we're gonna, like, this one's done, thank goodness, and off I go. But
I don't usually take them to the moment they die. I take them to the moment after they die.
Yeah.
When their spirit leaves their body and they can look down.
Yeah,
and
it was euphoric.
It's amazing when that happens, because yes, you don't have a body anymore. You're out of duality, right? But you can look down and see your body and see whoever's around you. And we cover that. And is there anyone you want to go see before you leave the earth plane? Something like that. And then it's just like, go towards the light.
Yeah. I didn't have fears or anything like that prior, because and just doing this work. And I know I may have shared this during our sessions prior, like with having you on the show, when I had a client wanting to connect with a loved one. My team put me in their loved one's body, where I was seeing through their eyes and experiencing their death and their transition and where they were on the other side. And it was a healing space on the other side, wrapped in gauze, floating, what I perceive as angels, the colors and the words. It was just so unconditionally loving and warm and like home. Like, so for me, even my grandpa had a near-death experience, and he talked about where he went during that time period. And it was colors he had a hard time describing. It was unconditionally warm and loving. And he saw all of his family and all of the horses from their family and the farm and his family. And so he wasn't scared of death anymore either. And that's how I feel.
I'm not, just reading Michael Newton's book, I think, made me not afraid of, I don't want to suffer before I go.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid of what's afterwards.
No.
But I'm glad you kind of said that one thing about I was seeing through his eyes, because when you're in a past life, sometimes you're looking through your eyes. And so you're kind of there and experiencing what's around you. But other times you're kind of like removed and observing the whole situation.
Yeah.
And it happens both ways for me. I've had it both ways. So it's just
being open to the process and however it's unfolding. Stephanie is sharing the questions Marilyn asks helps guide you so gently, step by step. And I will say, being out on the other side of this as well too, I would know to do this again, to share out loud more, because that part would help you guide me even more. Not that it was a powerful experience, but also that's part of your role, is understanding how to interpret what we're saying and continue helping us get to where we're needing to be.
And I have done this so long, I'm not afraid to ask guides questions.
Yeah.
And I push a little bit. So I had a friend come to me, and she came with her cousin because her cousin was really into this, but she's not. Like, I've known her for 30 years and she's never once asked to do this. She came because she wanted to come with her sister-in-law. Anyway, quite new to this, quite new to the woo-woo side of life. And it was very important for me that she had a good experience, and she did. But when we got to her guides, they said it's too soon, like you're not ready, like, because they didn't want her to be overwhelmed.
Wow.
But I kind of snuck around it. And I said, is your grandma here? And we asked her grandma the questions. She didn't get all of them. Her grandma couldn't give her all the answers, but
yeah. That was like the next question on my list for you. In lifetimes, you talk about connecting with spirit guides as part of the regression journey. So how often do spontaneous past life memories naturally segue into that contact with guides or between life states?
I don't think they would. No. It's like a different, like we raise your vibration, right? Unless you're raising your vibration at the same time, because, and talking about frequency again, our guides are not physical. And so their frequency is much higher than us in the physical sense. So we kind of have to raise your vibration and they'll come down and meet us part way. But they really don't want to be here in 3D. Would you? I mean, if you're up there all the time.
No, but
I guess we
just
do.
Does it push people to have that awakening and awareness and start them on that path if they're having a spontaneous past life regression? Is it that push to get moving forward?
Yeah, sometimes no, maybe. It depends.
Yeah. Is it because sometimes if we have that lesson that we're not paying attention to, they will act like the 6-year-old in the back of the car. Okay, how about now? So let's toss something else at them. How about now? What about now? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? So can that happen? Have you noticed that with like clients, but you don't want to put
it in the back of the car, but I think it's different for everybody. And I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is.
What I love,
individual at the same time, right?
What I love about this work is that when you do this, you're going to realize that you're a multidimensional person.
Yes.
You're talking to me on Earth, and you're talking to your spirit guides in the spirit realm. Mm-hmm. And you know that you're a time traveler. Like time is, you could be back in the past, and you could be in the forward in the future. We can all travel time that way. It doesn't mean our physical body is not there, but our consciousness is.
Yeah. Timey-wimey conversations can be overwhelming and a little trippy for me too. Again, big growth in that, because in my head, I was not allowing myself to realize, if I could go past and I could go forward as well too. So, giving myself that permission. I could go multidimensionally to other places and I seem comfortable with that, but never putting it in my head or giving myself that permission I could tap forward to.
I think we're all able to do that on our own. Yeah. We've just not realized for how long. I mean, how long has it been since the 80s or 90s that this has even been coming out into the open? And even after that, it's just.
Are there tools that can help people with a little bit of a push? Crystals or aromatherapy? Is all of that individual as well too?
Yeah, I think so. And one time I was connecting to my guides and they said, Marilyn, they're all tools, but there's nothing wrong with tools. Like you don't need to have the crystals. I can meditate.
I know.
In my hands. I like several of my crystals certain crystals when I meditate. And
but is it helpful? Because I kind of feel that way about lots of other things, right? Like, people buy 20 different decks of tarot cards and oracle cards, but it's mostly because they're drawn to the imagery or the colors or a particular artist who's creating
them.
That
works for you, if that works for you, go with it. So that is the vehicle. That is just the vehicle that's giving you what you want to download, or the answers you want. Like, well, for you, how do you get the answers when you
tapping in?
Yeah,
I honestly can take a breath and I'm in away I go, right? It's really that quick, and it's hard to explain, but I can feel it rolling. I can feel that breath go right to my third eye, crown opens up, down my spine, up my feet, and back up, and whoop, I'm there. So Teams in and away I go. It's like flipping a switch on.
It's not that easy for me.
Yeah, it's just flipping a switch on.
I'd be a psychic medium, and I'm not.
Oh, so, but I've worked this so long, and I share this story sometimes too. The very first Dining with the Dead event that I did about 14 years ago, I felt so bad that not everybody got read. So I stood at the door and I read everyone as they walked by.
Wow. Over
40 people, each person, they walked up like they were in a queue at a grocery store, and it was speed dating with dead folks. Yep. We were just like getting them in and out, and I did that again recently, but then I was so knackered. Yeah, I was knackered after, so like I just don't do that kind of stuff. But I think for me, I'm so focused on other people's stuff that, again, meeting you gave me permission to dig a little deeper with other layers of stuff that have been coming up for me. So I've done a lot of work on my own, but you just helped me access a couple of different things that I wasn't giving myself permission to do. And I think that was so helpful, and I'm grateful for that.
But it's like, I think we all could be psychic, and we all could,
for sure,
we need to be hypnotized to do this work. Because some people, I know people who just can do it on their own, right?
Yeah. But it's cultural beliefs, blocks, traumas and experiences from childhood, not even childhood, still trauma and experiences as an adult.
We forget who we are,
who
we really are.
Yeah.
And we take this body and think that we're a body, plus church and governments and schools and society, right, as a norm, has been saying you can't do that. Look how many kids have psychic things, and their parents say, don't tell anyone, because the church would condemn them, right?
Well, yes, and that fitting in thing. Like when I had my kids, we had like the safety word, the safety word when they're going to school, but we also had a word for when there was woo stuff going on if we were out. So then I knew that they were having an experience that was outside of the box that they needed to share, so that I could remove them from where we were, so we could talk about it and figure out what we needed to do in that moment. And we do have to numb ourselves or dumb it down a bit in order to access outside of our door for folks. Yeah,
even I have to talk to people differently. People who aren't ready to hear this.
Oh, yeah.
You just won't bring it up. But when people are ready, that they're so hungry. They just want to talk about it.
For me, when I'm with someone who's like in that space, this third eye section, that in between the eyebrow section, it actually pulsates and rotates, and I'm like, ooh, I'm with someone who gets it. So here we go. I don't have to choose my words carefully. I can just lay it all out there. So
I'll plant a little seed in and see if they pick up on it, and when they don't.
Yeah. Cindy Waghorn, Surrender and Shine, thank you so much for being here, jumping in late. Oh, you know what, Cindy, please forgive me. Cindy has a podcast starting Mondays. I believe it's at 9 p.m., but you can give me a shout. And it is talking about the Schumann resonance and the solar flare. So her podcast is going to be talking about energies and how we process it, and frequencies. It's all about frequencies, folks. So Cindy, please feel free to pop that in the chat, so people who are interested will be able to find you, if you don't mind.
Right in the chat where it is when.
Yes, for sure. Cindy. Denise is just asking, curious if you have ever had someone that could not raise up fully. I had a type of regression where we met guides rising up to other higher guides, but then I reached the top of a bubble and could not pass through it.
I understand that. And sometimes people can do past lives really well, but they can't access their guides. And it's a block that they have, or sometimes that block is not feeling worthy enough, or being afraid of, maybe they have some kind of guilt thing that they haven't shared and they don't want. But sometimes people can access their guides or they can't do past lives. So every session's so different. But I understand that reaching the top of the bubble, because I think we only know maybe 2% of what's going on with the universe, right? And if we do this work, maybe we know 5%. But there's so much more. I think maybe you couldn't go further because of that overwhelm, or the world is not ready for it, or you were not ready for it. I think there's just so much more that we don't know. We're at the tip of the iceberg.
And that doesn't mean the spirit guides aren't there for her. It just,
right. No, because she met guides.
Yeah.
They just couldn't go higher.
Yeah.
So
she's also sharing, I think it's funny because I have used bubbles around me for a long time before my session revealed it.
I always do. My daughter uses a pink bubble as a protection. I use a golden egg.
Oh.
White light.
Rubber bubble with slime. Some people use mirrors too, right? A mirrored bubble as well. Cindy Mitch is sharing, I believe the tools assist us to get the frequency highest, and later we don't need them as we can maintain the frequency.
Right. I can't tell you how many decks of cards I have, and I just don't even use them anymore.
Cindy, what is the Cindy Waghorn, what is the name? Sorry, that was the part that I was not remembering for you too. So it is with the Rift Nation network, our friend Howie Odell. Do you know that bubble up is something I used to tell my youngest, or all my kids, but my youngest one in particular remembers bubbling up, and he would bubble up everywhere. Going into the grocery store, bubble up. We're going to the mall, bubble up. Becoming universally aligned. I will remember that, Cindy. That's the name of the podcast.
Okay.
Becoming universally aligned, 9 p.m. Rift Nation Network, Facebook and YouTube.
So we just look Rift Nation Network up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. Would it be on like Apple Podcast or anything like that?
I'm not sure. Start Facebook and YouTube to start with, so I'm not sure where it will go from there. But becoming universally aligned. You know, I write things down as well too to remember them, but I have so many pieces of paper all over the place that I have to reread all those before I do anything with them, for sure. Okay.
We're writing. I'm writing.
Can we, we were going to talk about ethically researching, I guess, or ethically supporting, like if you're kiddo or if you have a past life memory, like not showing up, like you do some research, not showing up at maybe a descendant's door and knocking on it going, hey, I think we're related. You know what? There, you know, how do you maneuver through safely navigating emotionally in those past life memories or flashes that we have?
Discernment is probably the biggest thing. Like you just don't go to someone.
But we assume that everyone has common sense. Yeah. I guess you want somebody showing up at your door with that story too, right?
Yeah. I might not even want that.
No, I know.
Yeah. You have to set boundaries. A lot of people need to set boundaries. And maybe the boundary is just themselves knowing not to put themselves out there too quickly, because again, frequency, what's the frequency of the person you're talking to? Is it not going to believe what you're saying? Like some people who are aware can read the frequency, our frequency, more than they can read our words, right?
Cindy, so, Mitch, I love this question. Thank you so much, because I have heard of this. And that wasn't a question I wrote down. So I appreciate you being here and bringing that up. Cindy is asking, have you ever had a person seeing through someone else's eyes and thinking it was their own past life?
When I had that happen, well, you talked about doing that for someone, right?
Yeah.
I had someone, I'll often say, is there anyone you recognize in this past life that you're remembering from your current life? And if you see the eyes well enough, look into the eyes, because that's window to the soul. And then this one person said, I don't understand it. I'm looking into my own eyes. And that's when we found out what a twin flame was. So a twin flame is actually when one soul divides into two lives, experiencing two lives at the same time.
Right.
And that maybe not be the question exact question she's asking, but having someone else look into someone else's past life, I would say if they're there in the same lifetime, they can see what that other person is doing. They've gone to a past life, but not looking through their eyes. But there's always a first time. You never know.
Rule anything out.
I never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like I have someone coming shortly who has time lapse, and probably it's an abduction thing. You never know who's coming in the door.
Yeah, I kind of do know. And I think that the time lapses don't happen as much anymore because we've all caught on what that means. So that happens less frequency. I think other things happen now. But yeah, that was other people come to you for all different kinds of reasons and what they want to explore. Maybe, yes. Guided regression, spontaneous past life memories. Oh, what if they taught you about the bigger picture?
Say again?
What if they taught you about the bigger picture? Like,
there is a bigger picture. You
don't think so? Yeah.
And like
why we come here, what the purpose is.
What did we come here? I believe we come here to progress as a soul, to understand. In spirit, we don't understand duality. We can see it, but we're not really experiencing it.
Yeah.
Coming here to life, we feel pain, we feel sickness, hunger, love, both sides of the coin. In spirit world, sometimes I think it might be boring. It's not, but because what did they do all the time? Like, so that we come down here to grow as a spirit, as our, our soul.
And that we're all connected. So
absolutely,
as more of us are becoming more conscious, as more people become consciously aware that we're helping other people evolve.
And that again goes to consciousness. Like there's this big field out there of consciousness, and we're all part of it. We're all like drops of the ocean, right?
Yeah.
The ocean being the field that's out there, and we're just a little drop, but we have all the same qualities of that ocean.
I was so grateful when Kim agreed to come on for us to have that conversation and the work that we do too, that, as we heal here, we are helping the generations past and future as well too. So those ancestors that aren't at rest, we are helping them by taking accountability of our stuff here.
We are our ancestors, probably.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
And Continue with that train of thought.
okay, go back to the play, right? The community play. When you're this, 1 year or one play, you're this person, and the next one, you're this person, and then you're someone else. So we probably are our ancestors and coming back. And we're doing, so I just had someone here who came from a very hard life, and she came in to break that cycle. And so she breaks that cycle of all those ancestors, like it was brought down throughout the family, right? She's breaking that cycle right now, and that's healing in the past.
That was one of the questions that we set for me too during my in between live session was that cycle ending.
Sorry, in the future we're healing, because if we can heal something now, then our future life can be open to something completely on another level.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to come back.
Nobody does. But do you know what's not there? Do you know that there's actually, I've heard, a lineup, a waiting list to come down to Earth. And I've also heard just today, actually, that there are only super level souls on Earth today, because this is such a transformational time.
Yeah, my friend, it's incredible. My friend Joni, who's part of the Rift Nation Network, she is a forensic astrologist. She talks about that she uses the word biblical, but without a religious necessarily connotation to it, that what is happening is monumental and has never happened before, that it's just this incredible time for all of us to be here.
The whole earth is going to transcend.
Yeah, it's all shifting frequencies. Denny is sharing, soul growth is what it's all about. Cindy Mitch is asking, are you able to find out if it's a soul's choice to not to experience any more reincarnations as they done enough soul advancement?
Yes. When and that's, I think, what bodhisattva is your last life. Mm-hmm. However, that doesn't mean that you won't come back, because sometimes I went with a woman, and she really had a block on one thing, and her guide came through as her son. He didn't need to come back anymore, but he came through to help her. And I think when we get to the other side, we realize the big picture, right? And we say, oh yeah, it's only going to be for 100 years or 80 years. I can handle that. I'm an eternal being. What's 100 years? It's a blip in eternity, right?
Yeah. I had Cindy, I don't know if you have followed Spirit Switchboard, but I had a guest on named Tina Beckham, and she came on talking about soul planning and how she looks into what you've done for your soul planning in this lifetime. And it was this Hebrew, like using the letters in your name and using a Hebrew, I forget, but and it was really fascinating because there was so many overlaps to things that you have said and Joni has said. There's some astrological components to it, and it was very fascinating. And she talked about, soul's choice and coming or not coming and reincarnations, and it was
the between life work, right? When
yeah.
you go between, but it also sounds like Jewish mysticism.
Yes, it was
Kabbalah.
Yeah, it was fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fascinating conversation. I don't know. I feel like we're always learning, like there's still always this growth happening, or putting those tools into place, just not sitting with it as long. And not necessarily, I wouldn't say I've completely done all of my soul advancement, that's for sure, but I've done a pretty good job so far.
I always like to say I believe in lifelong learning, but now I have to say, I have to adjust that. Not just this lifelong learning, it's eternal learning, eternal progression. That's what eternal progression.
That's a good way of phrasing it.
And I think when you hit the top of the bubble, as was it Cindy asking that?
Denise.
Denise.
Yeah, Cindy too, sorry.
When you hit that bubble, but then when we don't have to come to Earth anymore and we're on another level, that bubble opens, right? We know that. And then there's a bubble above that. And then we know, it just goes up and up and up. We're eternal.
I feel the other part that was super powerful for people in having this kind of experience are for those who have not experienced seeing what their soul looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Or what their higher self. Yeah, what your higher self looks like.
And I love to do that when people don't have confidence. I want them to know. And I think I even wrote that in the book. My main objectives, that you are this personality. You are not this body. You are a magnificent soul. That is so huge and immense, it can't even fit into this body because the circuits, right? It's just too much for a body. And so that's why your higher self always stays as pure spirit in spirit world.
And I've always said, hi, bright light, or hello, bright light, when I'm connecting with people, and I meant it. It was not a blasé kind of thing that I say. I truly mean it. But when in having that experience with you and seeing from that perspective, like I could always feel it, but I've never saw it in that way. And it just right back to that experience before, hard to describe because it's just so beautiful and it's unconditionally loving. And if you've not felt unconditional loving before, that is powerful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what? I had an email I wanted to read. It talked all about, do we have time? Do we have a few minutes?
We do. We have.
This goes back kind of to the beginning.
We have about 10.
Okay, I don't think I need that long. But this is an email that someone wrote to me after her regression. And she was having a dream, because we were talking about how past life memories can come through dreams. And it was during the Holocaust, and she was on a train and someone got shot. Okay. So I'm just going to read here, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sending me the regression recording. I actually wanted to share this with you. After I downloaded the recording, I waited a few days and I really felt the need to share the recording with my oldest daughter. Needless to say, my 18-year-old was crying so hard and was extremely emotional. She said that after hearing the recording, a certain time in her life made a lot of sense. She asked me if I remembered when we were living in a townhouse. There was one night when she had such an emotional and terrifying dream that she had to go downstairs so she could cry it out on the sofa. I told her I did remember. She shared with me how the dream itself wasn't terrifying, but it was the emotions that came with it that were, and she didn't understand why. She said to me, I was riding on a train. I saw a brick building on the right. I remember a gunshot, and I woke up because I remember I was so very scared. She only had that train dream once, just as I did, but it stuck with her all these years. She was in the 2nd or 3rd grade. Then she let her youngest daughter listen to the recording. And after she listened to it, she gasped and said, OMG, Mom, do you remember, I won't say the name, had a dream years ago about being on a train, and she just cried and cried when she woke up from it. I was able to cry with both my girls, and we held each other. So many things made sense for us now, and I can't begin to thank you enough for the opportunity to have had a past life regression with you. It was soul therapy, quite literally. So she also had some fears. On the day of the recording, you shared how I no longer had reason to fear enclosed spaces or being afraid of dying younger any longer. When my partner and I went to BC, I did things that I never would have done before in a million years. I went to the Capilano Suspension Bridge Park. I didn't even go on that. I wouldn't even go on that. I had a deathly phobia of heights where I normally collapse from fainting at about 30 feet. I was able with some work to walk across 230-foot long bridge that was suspended 137 feet in the air, as well as complete a treetop adventure that sits more than 110 feet in the air and a cliff walk. I attributed this huge milestone to our sessions together. She says, you helped me more than you'll ever realize, and my soul is at peace because for years, through various Holocaust books, I was always searching through the pages for someone or people I had been missing and lost and never understood why or who. But now I know I have found them. They've been with me all along.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful.
And I have permission
Powerful.
because I want everybody to know this. So I did have permission to share that. But it talked about so many things of how spontaneous memories of past lives can come through and affect us and the fears of the height and everything. And we don't even know that it's past life.
Yeah, incredible. Denny is sharing, it's funny people plan their whole life for retirement, but never plan for eternity.
Oh, wow.
Carrie is sharing, the soul and spirit are different beings. I have been able to observe both. I recommend looking at both. It's a game changer. Heidi is sharing, I have felt more unconditional love from my team than anyone ever in the physical. Denise is sharing amazing story, and Cindy Mitch is sharing, wow, absolutely amazing testimony. It is powerful.
How can you not, when you go through so many experiences like this with other people, how can you not believe?
Yeah.
Like, how can you not believe that there's so much more out there?
Mm-hmm. Everyone plays a role though, right? So if their role is to be the best asset they can be to help push you to make the changes that you're needing. But for me though, I always have this rose-colored glasses on, that person who was also your best teacher and being that person that when you make the choice to heal and move forward, it mirrors to them the opportunity. Okay, and now I don't have to be that because they've got their lesson. So now I can move forward too. So I think sometimes that forgetting of where they come happens, and that's why they choose to stay stuck in the 3D muck and mire. I don't know.
It's because life is hard. It's not easy. But the more open you are, the more you see the magic, right? The more you see.
Yeah. And it's not easy. Stepping into this, you have to take full accountability, and it's messy and raw and uncomfortable. The healing work and past life memories, and and that it's coming from a child. You have this place, but then when you get on the other side of it, it is magical and wonderful, and understanding that we're in constant co-creation with the universe, right?
If we can just stop the blame game.
Yeah.
We don't have to accept it. We do have to forgive. We don't have to condone. But if we can stop blaming other people for the way we are, like my mother never understood me type thing.
Yeah.
We just have to get we're all doing the best we can with the knowledge that we have. Yeah.
Carrie is sharing, how can we not believe conversations like this help me when I have a moment of doubt? I'm gratitude for this. Stephanie is sharing, beautiful show, just beautiful. Thank you. So winding down, how can people find you? Do you have a long wait list currently? Are you?
January and February are slow because of the weather. Okay?
Right.
But this work can be done virtually just as well. I like to have people in person. I like, the personal touch. Yeah. But if you don't like the weather or you live far away, we can do it online.
Yeah. And do you feel there's the potential for the next book to be channeled out?
I have to tell you, I already wrote a second book. It's for my 4-year-old grandson and my friend's granddaughter, who don't even know each other, but the book's written as if they're best friends. And I've written it now, and she's illustrating it.
Oh,
and so
how fabulous.
It's ready for Christmas. But it's called Poo Poo Head.
That is
nothing to do with this work. Sorry, guys, but I have written a second book.
I love that.
I'm thinking more and more there may be, but it's not in the works yet.
No, I found even with doing the ebook, it channeled out, and and it just came on its own at the own time. And that's how I believe all of it needs to happen, right? Like they give us that pop and encouragement, and the way it unfolds. Heidi Gold is sharing, great show, grateful for these chit chats. They speak to my soul. I think we need to pop up. So sorry. Hang on a second. Oh, there we go. Heidi sharing, using triggers to analyze and heal. Cindy much saying yes, through catapulting our life to move forward in forgiveness for ourselves and for our higher self and awareness. Thank you so much. The web address for people to find you.
You are a soul. That's it.
.ca. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure having you on the show.
You are the soul. You have a body.
Yeah.
And I used to ask that when I would do talks. I would say, how many of you believe you have a soul? You know, and everyone raised their hand. I said, no, you are a soul. You have a body. But can I just read this one last, my favorite message? And I know I read it. Do we have time? A minute. I read it on one of our other podcasts, but it's like really my favorite because it's so simple and so perfect.
Yeah.
When times get hard, look through spiritual eyes. When you look through worldly eyes, you focus on loss, pain, and suffering. But when you look through spiritual eyes, you are connected. You know that your suffering is only temporary, that you will be with deceased loved ones again, and that we will all return to a realm of peace, joy, and love.
It's beautiful.
I love that.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
It's got me through some rough times.
For everyone that's in the chat, thank you so much for being part of our community, for sharing, commenting, and asking questions. I love and appreciate all of you very much. Please stay tuned. Jeffrey Pritchett is up next with the Church of Mavis. And next week on the show, Brian Baker is coming on with discussing his book, Eerie Canada, and Canada's reluctant relationship with its paranormal past. So he is also Superstitious Times. So please, connect in next week as well too. So thank you so much to Joe Montaldo, our network owner, and Michelle DeRoche, our network manager. Thank you to the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. Have a good weekend, everyone. And we will see you back here next Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Good night, everyone.
Thank you all. Bye.